Good morning. Happy Friday. Happy first game of the World Series tonight. Cannot wait for that. Good morning, good morning, good morning to everybody. This is the Pitchfork Chronicles, where fans become family. I'm Uncle Tats. I'm here with Donald. Rob is getting ready to have a nice little vacation with some buddies of his. I hope he is enjoying his time. And this is going to be a series where it's going to have a lot of defining moments for players, whether they're on the positive side or the negative side. Players like Judge, this is his chance to finally have those moments where he kind of takes the reins and leads the team as a captain and shows it with some productivity on the field and at the plate. This is where our favorite player can get himself into that legendary. We'll be talking about him, and generations will be following him long after he's playing, where they're going to go back and want to see some clips. Just like our generation going back and looking at some of the players from the 70s, the 60s, all the way to Babe Ruth. You could put yourself in that lore with a World Series that we're expecting to have. So also, Cole, he's been on the World Series stage before, so he does have the experience. We also have Rizzo with World Series experience and Juan Soto with World Series experience. So the Yankees are not going into this. I know they're all thinking that the Yankees are the underdog because it's been so long since they've been here. And the Dodgers, only won just 4 years ago. But that was 4 years ago. That was 15 years ago. We are focused on the now. And what is going on now is pretty much, I'm going to say it, and a lot of people have put this phrase out there. I think this is a series for the ages. I think we're going to see just an epic World Series. It's going to create new fans. It's going to have some borderline fans. And I don't care if you're a Fairweather fan. Enjoy the ride. We've been waiting for this for a long time. And tonight we see the start of the World Series with Cole and Flaherty on the mound. And I think it's kind of poetic that Flaherty was almost a Yankee. So it's going to be interesting to see. We already had the expectation that it might have been it was a hard pill to swallow that they passed on him. So let's see if he will further give us as fans ammunition to scream at Cashman in the offseason. But if this roster did get to the World Series, there's no need to scream at him now. So he's kind of the Cashman hate is currently on the bench, but can be brought into the game at any time. And I'm sure we will be doing that. What's going to happen with Jazz? What's going to happen with Wells? What's going to happen with Cabrera? When are we going to see these guys that, especially Jazz Chisholm? Yeah, I really want to see him up his game. He was looking a little better at the plate the last game, drawing the walk, getting the hit. But I really I want to see him make himself an X factor, like you would expect from like a Tommy Edman or Max Muncy on the Dodgers. That kind of the player that nobody's really talking about that can still hurt you. I'd like to see Jazz put himself into that conversation. But before we really go into a deep dive, Donald, pretty good chance to see you the other day. You were dealing with some headaches and you were a little under the weather, so glad that you're here. You're feeling a little better. I want to toss it to you and really get how you're feeling about Game 1 here.
This is the most star-studded World Series in well over a decade. This is a dream come true for the sport, for baseball, for people around the world. And here's an amazing stat. There are literally 5 MVPs on show in this series. 5. So you're having MVPs everywhere with Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, Judge, and Stanton. All of them have won an MVP in their careers. So you take that and you have Aaron Judge, who's obviously going to win an MVP again this year. Ohtani's probably going to win another MVP in the National League. MVPs everywhere, and that's what it's all about. This is a dream matchup, and it doesn't get any bigger and more star-studded than this. So that's going to be extremely exciting. Then you have Garrett Cole, who's a Cy Young Award winner. Then you have Yamamoto, who is the most highest sought-after Japanese pitcher in a long, long time, and all on show. Just, I mean, obviously we all want the Yankees to win, but if you look at the series over a whole and the two sides, it's evenly matched, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yep, and yeah, it's gonna be. That's the other thing, like I was saying, just embrace the moment, have fun. We got to this point for a reason. Nothing is by accident. So don't just have your frustrations, but just tonight it is only game one. So let's I want to curb some of the exaggerations that can happen. But before we get into before we go forward into the pitching matchup tonight, because I think that's important. How your starters kick off the World Series. Want to give a quick shout out to everybody in the chat, and if you want to join our chat, all you have to do is simply hit that subscription button. So make sure you sub up, hit the like button, share this out. Good morning to everybody. Good morning, Jonathan. Good morning, Ken. Good morning, Grace. Cold Italian Pizza, Egyptian Magician, Jay Trinidad. Welcome to the family. Really enjoyed the back and forth with you on NFE's channel on the Strike Zone. That it was a lot of fun. Dev, what's going on? Always look forward to seeing you here. Ken, Mark, well, good to see you back. We didn't scare you away the other day. That's awesome. We got Lou, ABX. We also have Medina. And everybody else that is hanging out with us on Facebook and Twitter. We do also enjoy you checking us out as well. So I kind of teased a little bit, my little word salad of a monologue. But Brad, look who's up early. Brad was going.
Brad. It's Christmas morning, says Grace. I love that.
Right? This is awesome. Yeah, this is like Christmas, Grace. It really is. I'd rather this than see. I don't know. My Christmas is opening day of the season, but hey, this is like little Christmas. 12 days later, where you get to have another celebration. When you see the matchup between Cole and Flaherty, when you're looking at the names, you think it's a complete mismatch. And I think that's really unfair to Flaherty because he was such a sought-after pitcher on the market at the deadline. So, I don't want to say he's going against Garrett Cole. He's our ace. He's not their ace, and it's a mismatch. I think that really is an unfair statement because you never know. Yeah, we're all doomed, Brett. And if you're right. But you have to give the advantage to Cole. You're dealing with the experience of not only being in the league for a number of years on multiple teams, and also being in the World Series before with that type of pressure when he was with Houston. Cole has to have the edge over Flaherty. It's all going to depend on how they execute. And I think the goal for Cole today is pitch well enough to get through 6 innings. I think that should be the foundation of how we judge his start. What do you think?
Yeah, so let's have a look at the matchup here. So we've got Jack Flaherty. Now, you did pretty solid for Detroit. Great for Detroit. And pretty solid for the Dodgers. 3.58 ERA since joining the Dodgers. 61 Ks over 55 innings. So that's pretty solid. Bit of a mixed bag in the playoffs. You had that one phenomenal start where he pitched that 7 scoreless innings against the Mets in Game 1. But he also surrendered 4 runs and 8 hits in another outing. Postseason ERA is a little inflated because of that. There's that. Garrett Cole has not been the Garrett Cole that we'd probably expect so far in the playoffs, but he's obviously had one phenomenal start in the playoffs so far and a couple of iffy ones. So over the course, I mean, of course, Garrett Cole is the better pitcher. There's no doubt about it. He's one of the best pitchers in baseball. In fact, he's probably, for me, when he's cooking, the best pitcher in baseball. But obviously, Tariq Skubal would have something to say about that now. But last year, he was by far the best pitcher in baseball. So we have the advantage, but it's all really dependent on how it goes today. Garrett Cole hasn't been great, so he needs to be a little better. So let's hope that he shoves. I think he will, though. I think he will. I think he's going to absolutely shove tonight. I really feel good about Garrett Cole's start. I mean, he lives for these moments. First of all, he's a California dude, Yankee fan. It's a dream to be in a World Series. He is going to shove. I'm sure of that. And Jack Flaherty, as you say, it's kind of poetic because the Yankees could have acquired him. So the fact that Dodgers got in ahead of the Yankees adds another extra dynamic to this matchup. Let's have a look and see who has fared well against both pitchers, right? So Dodgers haven't had much success against Garrett Cole. Teoscar Hernandez batting 192 with just one home run, one RBI, and 7 strikeouts and 26 at-bats against Garrett Cole. So Cole has definitely got Teoscar Hernandez's number. Kike Hernandez has actually done pretty well with him. 381 batting average. Shohei Ohtani, 1 homer, 3 ribbies, 7 Ks, 200 batting average, 200 on base, 400 slug, over 20 at-bats. Freddie Freeman's mashed, and Mookie Betts have mashed. Both have bat 350 and 400 off of Garrett Cole. The rest of the lineup, guys like Chris Taylor and Edman and Max Muncy, 0 batting averages across the board against Garrett Cole. They've not been able to do anything against him. Will Smith, 333. So, kind of a mixed bag. It looks like Garrett Cole has done pretty well against Shohei Ohtani, over 20 at-bats, so that's pretty solid. He's done well against Teoscar Hernandez, but he's going to struggle against Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman. Can't really blame him, though, because those two dudes are MVPs, or previous MVPs anyway. So, anyway, that kind of helps us have a good understanding of who Garrett Cole has had success with. And let's have a look and see who the Yankees have had success with in terms of Flaherty. Anthony Rizzo has done very, very well against Flaherty. 429 batting average, 571 slug, 900 slug, 571 on base. So he has mashed. So look for Anthony Rizzo to have good at-bats. Surprisingly, Soto hasn't had the best time, but it was only 9 at-bats, so it's difficult to judge.
Very small sample size.
Yeah, exactly. Verdugo, even smaller sample size, 4 at-bats. Torres, 3 at-bats. Volpe, 2 at-bats. Ozzie, 2 at-bats. Jazz, just 1 at-bat. And none of them had any success against them, although Gleyber is batting 300 against them. But that's really about it. So the Yankees haven't had much success against them, but they haven't seen them all that much either. The one guy that's seen them plenty is Anthony Rizzo, and Anthony Rizzo has mashed against him. So I'd expect Anthony Rizzo to have really quality at-bats against Jack Flaherty. So that kind of gives us an idea of what to expect tonight.
Yeah, I mean, the sample size isn't real. I don't think it's. I mean, it's fun to go through, and it's something to, you can only go by what you have in front of you. But it doesn't mean that Rizzo can go 0 for and Verdugo can go 4 for 4. It's when you get to the postseason, sometimes you have to look at the numbers because you have to. Baseball is a very number-oriented game. So you have to just realize you're gonna have it's got to go one way or the other. And I know that sounds a little mundane to say,
It
but
does. It sounds
it's
like
just
you're on
very,
the fence there, T.
the World Series is just too unpredictable.
Oh, of course it is. You're right.
So, you know, Cole may not have had the strongest. I'm not going to say he's had a bad postseason. He might not have had the strongest postseason, but this is where these players dream of these moments their entire career. Whether it's your first time for players like Volpe, or you've been here before, like Cole, Rizzo, a lot of the guys on the Dodgers, Soto, and they know the pressure. They've already gotten those butterflies out of the way of the World Series stage. So I think for game one, my prediction is the experience is going to have the better night tonight. And also, I think another key factor is it's also Juan Soto's birthday. So happy birthday, Juan Soto.
Oh, the king. Happy birthday to the king. We love you.
So he's going to, you have to show up for him. I'm expecting that. I think the veterans tonight are going to be the talking points tomorrow morning.
I fully expect Eric Coles to step up. I think it's going to be fireworks. I think it's going to be awesome. Because, as I say, he lives for this moment. So you're right, Tats. It really depends on what's in here rather than the numbers. But the numbers obviously gives you a good indicator of the success and what to look for. But really, yeah, it's about what's in here. And I think that's been the story of the postseason. Because the Yankees have shown a lot of heart and they keep coming back. And it's been a joy to watch. You're muted, Tats. You're muted.
Dog got a squeaky toy. We had a couple of people coming late, so I just want to give a quick shout before we get more into the big three of each team and their impact. So what's going on, Jacob Petruzzi? We also have Raziel jumping in. What's going on, Raziel? Stephen B. We had a good chance to shout you out before. Norman Soto, what's going on? Good morning to you. When you look at the big three for each team, you have on the Dodgers side, you have Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, and our big three of obviously Judge, Soto, and Stanton. You're going to see most likely the three of them in a row in the order, unless they do something just completely off, to throw everybody off. Who would you say had the better edge? Like, where do you think? What do you think is going to give the pitchers a bigger problem?
I mean, that's a good question. Who's got the bigger edge? I mean, geez,
just with those three on each.
It's not easy. It's not easy, and obviously you'd want to just jump in and say the Yanks, but also you have to give some kudos to the Dodgers. They've got a lot of experience. Freeman has had a ton of success in Atlanta in the playoffs. And then you have Ohtani, this is his first time, but he hasn't looked overawed by any stretch. And then you have Mookie Betts, who's obviously had a very phenomenal career to this point in Boston and now LA. I mean, it's 50-50, isn't it? I mean, at the moment, I do believe that Juan Soto and Aaron Judge are probably the best hitters in baseball right now. But then everyone's going to argue with Ohtani. So I can't decide. I think it's 50-50. I really do. I would give maybe a 51-49 edge to the Yankees because of Juan Soto. Because Juan Soto is on just another level right now. He's like the freaking king of baseball. And so I'm giving him the edge for that. And we need Aaron Judge to just really step up. That's really the key to the series. Aaron Judge must have a big series.
Yeah, no, I'm going to come back to that comment. We're going to start going through some of the comments soon. So if you do have your opinions, questions, be sure you just throw them in the comment section, and we will be taking a little time to go through them. No, I think, and I said this with Rob the other day, I think this is the most evenly matched head-to-head in the World Series we've had in a long time. So I don't think one team has an advantage over the other. I think the only wild card that can fall into play is really Freeman's health. He's had that, but we also have that with Rizzo, so I think that also can negate that. So with first base could be who's just able to weather the pain a little more, and we know Rizzo's pain tolerance is insane. What's going on, John the Beagle Dad? What's going on, Elliot? What's going on? I don't think one team has an advantage. The only edge that really the Yankees would have over the Dodgers is the starting rotation. So we actually we have a full rotation where they're going to have a couple of bullpen games. So while I queue up some comments, Donald, what do you think? The Dodgers having to go with a couple of bullpen games, how that can affect the competition.
I think you're right. I think that's one of the clear edges that the Yankees have. That they have a lack of starters, and we have a ton of starters. I mean, we have so many starters that there's going to be a starter that's not even going to make the World Series roster. I mean, Nestor Cortez is probably going to come in off the bench, and he's and be a bullpen piece. So he's going to be great. I feel pretty good about Nestor Cortez as a little surprise. I think he could be really useful. He's kind of got the right temperament for it. But yeah, if you look at the matchup, Garrett Cole, Rodon's been shoving in the playoffs so far. Schmidt hasn't been great, but he's not been bad either. And we've got Gil. I feel really good about that. Now there are some questions. Obviously, Luis Gil. His question is not his stuff. Luis Gil's question is location with him, but his stuff is excellent. So if he's cooking, then he's good. If he walks too many guys, then he can get himself in trouble, and then it could be like a 3-run home run, and then he's in some trouble. Schmidt. It's more a case of him trying to get a bit more longevity. He's not really given us much length, but he's been quality this year. Rodon looks like he's a different animal in the playoffs. Been very, very happy with him. And Garrett Cole, I think he's due one superb start, and I think this is going to be it. I have a pretty good feeling about that, but anything can happen. As for the Dodgers, Yamamoto's pitched fucking great. He's really good. And then Flaherty, and then it's a little bit up in the air after that, right? So
yeah,
I think the edge goes to the Yankees in terms of that matchup. That's
the way.
Big advantage. Bullpen, however, it's slightly more.
That's a different story. Yeah,
it's a different story. But I mean, if you look at the numbers, the team comparisons, it's like neck and neck. It's crazy how neck and neck it is, guys. So runs per game, the Dodgers average 5.2, the Yankees average 5. So basically identical. Batting average, the Dodgers have a slightly better batting average, 258 to 248. Not massive difference. Home runs, we have an advantage, 237 to 233. Again, it's very, very close. However, they're blitzing us in stolen bases, so look for them to steal bases on us. 136 to 88. Earned run average, the Yankees have the better earned run average, 374 as opposed to 390. And the opponent batting average, the Yankees have a better one, 233 to 235. Look how close that is, guys. I mean, that is so close. It's crazy how almost identical these are in many ways.
Yep. The walk rate difference. I'm sure Donald will be able to get that information very quickly. While I'll be trying to figure out those numbers for you. Let's get to some of the comments in the chat, like we had promised. We're going to start off with. We're going to go with Brad's comment. Let the Otani glazing continue. He's been glazing more than a ham at Christmas. Hope he doesn't deliver during the World Series. I think the Otani hype, he hasn't been the rock star of the postseason. He's had some really good moments. If you have runners on when he's at the plate, he's an absolute. He's a threat. He's an ultimate threat. But no, I think that it suits MLB better to make sure that they widen their range of who they praise and who they showcase during the World Series, because you do have these two iconic teams. And you also have Judge and Cole, and don't forget, Mookie Betts, is an outstanding ball player. Give him his headlines as well. Walker Buehler, unfortunately, I think that they already ruled out Kershaw throwing any pitches at all, which is kind of a shame. So, I think MLB will suit itself best if they just spread the love around for the superstars.
Let's spread the love for a Dodger fan, Roy.
Roy, you're back.
Thank you for hopping on. Never been more excited to see two teams play in a World Series. This is truly a World Series. Amen to that. As a Dodger fan, I want to win, but who can get mad at a great World Series? I think that's a great take. Spot on. I hope you enjoy this, man. It's going to be a hell of a series. I'll be shocked if it doesn't go minimum 6. Absolutely shocked. I think there's so much comparability between the two teams. I think it's the two best teams in baseball. It's two most star-studded teams in baseball going head-to-head. It doesn't get better than that.
No, and you know what? That leads to the I'm going to divert with that comment to this question. If it's win or lose with either team, right? And Roy, I'm going to ask it this way because you're in the chat. I want your take on it. And I got to ask, did you do what I asked and bring a friend with you? Let's get some Dodger fans in the chat. So, because we really enjoy hearing from both sides of the ball here.
Because I'd be interested if you could fill me in on, because obviously you guys know the Dodgers. You know the Dodgers inside out. We're just looking at the numbers. Where do you feel the greatest advantages for you guys and the greatest disadvantages for you guys? That'd be interesting just to see from a fan's perspective.
But what if we just get an epic World Series where it's a toss-up to the very last out of who wins the whole thing? Obviously, we could put ourselves in our own shoes. If it really goes down to a key moment, a key at bat, something just miraculous that ends the series, and it's not in our favor, would that be the series? The year is a loss.
So, are you asking if the Yankees World Series?
Say the Yankees fall short, but it's just an epic battle.
Right. Okay.
Now, are we going into the offseason as fans like, the whole season was a failure? Or are you kind of that, it was right there? Yeah. It's at what point do you like, you know what? We just gave it everything we had. There's no reason.
Well, the problem with that question is you're almost putting it into the ether. I don't want to put that into the ether.
Okay.
How about we put it on ice and have a look to see how the series goes? Because I don't want to before game 1 starts. I don't want to start the juju of already talking about how we're going to react if we lose. I think that's just bad juju, and that's not the right question to ask in this scenario. Let's try and be optimistic. At the moment, I feel very optimistic, and I feel that what the Yankees have given us is a very special season. Let's see if they can. Let's see if they can go that one step further. But we have to see how it plays out.
That's fair enough.
And
We'll put
it
that
all
on.
depends on how this series goes. I mean, if the Yankees sweep the World Series, then we're all going to be on top of the world. If the Yankees lose in 4, then it'll be a different discussion. But again, let's not put it in the ether. Let's just take it game by game and see how.
Ken Rosenthal saying Yankees in 4.
I think Ken's a little optimistic, but we will take it. We will
I
absolutely.
think we're all going into it optimistically. But what I'm not optimistic about is with Ken's comment here, the broadcast. It's going to be a shit show. Yankee hating Schmaltz will be bashing the Yankees the entire series, almost considered muting the commentary. I highly recommend that. I will very reluctantly, I will hesitate to put any sound on if I'm watching on TV. What do you think of them keep this? Why does Schmaltz always have to call the New York series when he absolutely despises anybody that's played or probably even lives in New York?
What choice do we have? I mean, if you look at the announcers, we had Ron Darling, who hates the Yankees. He's the Mets announcer. And now we've got John Smalls. Hates the Yankees. So, I mean, it doesn't really matter. I don't really care. Anyway, we'll be calling games. Anyway, I fully intend on having some games called live streaming. And certainly tonight we'll be doing a live stream with Alex on Big Blue in the Bronx channel. So if you guys are sick of John Smalls, just hop on over.
Oh, you could also. I mean, the Donald and the twins. They have it's so much fun on their streams. Speaking of,
Look up tonight, man.
There he is.
There you go. Could be Costas. Holy moly!
I'd rather Costas than Schmaltz. I'd rather be put to sleep than pissed off.
Well, that's true. I mean, Costas would give us every single Dodger Yankee matchup since the dawn of time.
Even Brad caught that. Luca on cue. We were just shouting out the stream for tonight, Luca. So we'll be looking forward to that. It's when I don't. Rob and I brought this up, so I'll get your take on this today. Why don't they just have one guy like Michael Kay and whoever the Dodgers guy is, and then one national guy? I bring Joe Buck back. Anybody but Schmaltz.
Oh yeah, we need some Joe Buck.
And I'm not. I know he is who he is. I know a lot of fans don't like him. I'm not a favorite of him. He's not a favorite of mine, rather. But I'd rather listen to him because Cole Italian Pizza's right. He's still not over 96. And no matter what players that the Yankees put out there, they wouldn't have done this, they wouldn't have done that. I know, Greg. It makes too much sense to do it that way.
Yeah, I like your take. I think it would be cool. But if you guys don't want to, do the live streams, there's obviously John Sterling, and John Sterling's the GOAT, and it would be a dream come true to have John Sterling's incredible career, GOAT career, voice of the Yankees career, end on a World Series calling the final out.
Mm-hmm.
Celebrating another Yankee championship. I mean, that would be just storybook. And that's the thing about how we're so blessed as Yankee fans. We are so blessed and we have so many storybooks. It's crazy. Like, for instance, Derek Jeter, his entire career was storybook. You know what I mean? Even his final game, he got the game-winning ribby. You know what I mean? He was just, he was just, his career was just like sent from the fucking gods. And John Sterling is another storybook freaking run that he's on that he retires, but then he comes back and he's calling the Yankees to the World Series. That's pretty special. I mean, there's a million stories that the Yankees have that just no other team has, and no other team in sports has. And it's no disrespect to the Dodgers, because for me, the Dodgers are obviously a very established franchise, probably the second most important franchise in baseball. But if you just look at like the history books and things like that, nothing comes close to what the Yankees do. It's freaking amazing. And so we're blessed. We're blessed as Yankee fans. We really are.
Absolutely. Get to another comment here. Gregory, knocking out Flaherty and Yamamoto early will be huge. And that's where the Yankee bats can really have that give themselves the advantage, is if they continue to take the Soto approach and just stay patient. Don't swing at a pitch just to swing at a pitch. Just really just like how they were playing in the beginning of the season. You saw that starting to come back out the last week or two, as we were trying to decide the division, where they were taking more pitches. They were wearing the pitching down, especially to give the advantage to the middle of your lineup. Because that once they get past Soto, getting through Soto is like going 15 rounds in a boxing ring. But if they're able to do the same thing with Judge and Stanton, by the time you get to Jazz, Wells, Verdugo, and those guys, he's going to be exhausted. So you want to try to get him out of the game. Like, if they're able to get his pitch count so high that he can't finish the fifth inning, then for me with the bats, that's mission accomplished.
It's so important, and that's how the Yankees have had success in these playoffs. Working that count. Gleyber Torres at the top of the lineup has done such an excellent job of working that count. Then you get to Juan Soto, who, for me, his approach to the strike zone is unmatched. There's not one single batter in baseball better than him, learning what the pitcher is giving him. That's exactly what Giancarlo Stanton said after the ALCS. He's like, Juan Soto downloads information. So as the pitcher's coming to him, he's learning. Yeah. And I've never personally, as a fan and as a lot of baseball, I've never seen anybody just like so freaking smart, always learning. He's like, bang, bang, bang. I know exactly what's going to come. And this is how I'm going to attack him. That just makes him freaking unbelievable. So that's why I felt really positive about that during that at-bat where Soto hit the home run that sent us to the World Series. I felt really good at it from the first pitch, because the telltale sign is the Soto shuffle. If you see the Soto shuffle, that means he's locked in.
Yeah.
So pay attention to these things. So then he works the count. Then you get to Aaron Judge, and he works the count. Now, he's not had a lot of success because he's been striking out the playoffs, but he still works the count. And plus, pitchers are terrified of him, so they'll try and avoid him. And then you get to Big G, and by that point, they're exhausted. So, and then let's not discount the fact that Anthony Rizzo has a lot of success in his career against the Dodgers, and he's actually had a very good positive playoffs because his at-bats have been very professional. So you have a whole lineup of guys that are working the count. I've not even gotten to Anthony Volpe yet. I'm not his biggest fan, but I'll tell you what. Playoffs, he's been excellent. And he has been working the count excellently. He's been brilliant at working the count, Anthony Volpe. So once again, you get there. And then you got Austin Wells, who's been in a terrible slump, but he's got a very good approach. And that leaves Jazz Chisholm, who's not had a good playoffs by any stretch of the imagination. But over the piece, the Yankees work a ton of counts, and Cleveland couldn't handle them. The Royals couldn't handle them. And I think the Dodgers will struggle to handle them because they don't have the depth. So that's something that the Yankees could press home with. So that you're spot on, Uncle Tats. Work that count, work that count, work that count. Even if you don't automatically see in the first couple of innings the Yankees putting runs on the scoreboard, if you see that pitch count skyrocket, and we're getting guys on base, eventually you'll break through. Because that is how the Yankees had success in the 90s and the
Mhm.
early 2000s and their championship runs. It was always about working that count, working that count, working that count, and then eventually either you get into the soft underbelly of the middle relief, or you tire that starter out and you tag them. That's how we've had success in the past. That's how we'll have success this series.
Yeah, it's also a big part of their success at the beginning of the season, but it's you also run the opportunity to have them bring in their bigger guys earlier in the game to stop the bleeding. So they can bring in a high leverage pitcher, out of the pen. And now that's one less guy you have to worry about at the tail end of the game, where you can put up a run in the eighth or ninth inning if it's needed. But also because they're not coming in with a full rotation. So the more you're able to have them go on into the bullpen, I think that's going to be the biggest factor for the Yankees to win this whole thing. It's really punish their pitching. I do have the offense on both sides are going to put up numbers. It depends on how many pitches per game these managers have to go through. I think that's the deciding factor.
I agree with that. I agree with the success of either team will be dependent on working the pitch count and getting into the bullpen, or taking advantage of starting pitching.
All right, Roy. Nope, a good counterpoint, Roy. Can't disagree with you. Yankee fans, keep this in mind. The Dodgers have played all season with a pitching staff in shambles. We've played in a deep and competitive National League. We ended up best record in baseball.
Well, that's because you guys got the best trio in the National League. That trio was insane. Freeman, Betts, Ohtani, 3 MVPs. That's
you got Kike Hernandez, Teoscar Hernandez, Max Muncy,
I
Tommy
love
Edman.
that Dodger team.
Their lineup is legit.
Unbelievable. That Dodger team is unreal. And they really took it to the Mets. Now, the Mets are absolutely no easy team. And the Dodgers pissed all over them for the most part. They put up a mountain of runs. And the Mets have decent pitching. And the Dodgers tagged the shit out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it's going to be a hell of a series. Don't get me wrong. This is going to go 6-7, and I really can't call it. It's neck and neck. It really is. The fact that the Dodgers are able to put so many runs up on the board in bunches is concerning, because the Yankees haven't really done that. Because the Yankees haven't really hit runners in scoring position in these playoffs. They've really relied on Juan Soto and Giancarlo Stanton to drive in the key runs and have the big moments, because Aaron Judge has kind of struggled. Jazz has had a terrible postseason. So the Yankees haven't had it easy. They've had to really fight. But the Dodgers just have that ridiculous depth, incredible batting lineup. So they're able to tag teams.
Yep. And all right, so next comment here from Spencer. He goes, one thing I feel good about is the capital New York Yankees clinched the DS in Kansas City. They clinched the championship series in Cleveland. They're not intimidated being on the road. The Yankees were absolutely a better road team than a home team this year.
Facts. Absolutely facts.
So, yeah, no, that is why, the confidence is still high in the Yankees. They've had the knack this year of performing well on the road. So being away from the fans is not a deterrent for them performing.
And Roy continues the point. This is a really interesting perspective here. Don't overlook, we beat the 2 hottest teams in baseball. Beat the Padres, who everyone picked to win the World Series, and beat Cinderella, who had a nice run. The unexpected will happen this World Series. That's absolute facts. I
Yeah, and Roy, I
I
think
really did feel that the team that would beat the Padres was going to be the team
to get
that
through.
would make the World Series, because I agree. I thought the Padres were looking really good, but the Dodgers took care of them. And then, yeah, the Mets took care of the Yankees in the regular season. They really did. I was at the game, and the Yankees got absolutely lambasted and shellacked at home. So the Mets were no easy team. They have a deep lineup and then deep pitching, and the Dodgers absolutely annihilated them. So, bro, the Dodgers team is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous.
That was
But
just a
for the
weird
Yankees,
series with the blowout games. I,
it's
yeah,
gonna be fun. And here's some other crazy things here, right? So we've got some more historical uh, aspects to this series, right? Just to show how star-studded this series is, right? How about the trio of elite hitters that we're about to see, right? Juan Soto is ranked third in baseball in qualified players in WRC Plus with 180. Who's he behind? Aaron Judge and Otani. So, three of the leaders in baseball of WRC Plus are all going to be on the field in the same series. This will be the first series in postseason history to have the top three qualified players in WRC Plus from that season. So, basically, the three best hitters in baseball all sharing the field at the same time has never been seen before in the history of baseball in the World Series. How's that for a freaking stat? How about that for a stat? Aaron Judge, Otani, Juan Soto, the three best hitters in baseball, all sharing the same field. It's pretty cool. It's really cool.
oh yeah, baseball's loving it. They really are. It's a big advantage for them publicly. So I get to this next comment. We really enjoying going through some of the comments here. You guys are awesome. Ken Scaling, the Yankees are not afraid of playing on the road. The Yankees have the best record in baseball, best road record in baseball. There is not a home field advantage this series. And I absolutely agree with that. The Yankees don't have the advantage when they're home, and neither do the Dodgers. And to some of Roy's counterpoints to go along with that, that's why this is a very unpredictable series to kind of project on. Because these teams are just so evenly matched. That's why I think it's going to come down to which offense just wears down the pitching quick. Whichever, like I said, whatever manager has to use more pitching, they're going to be. They're going to. I think that's what's going to cause them to fall short. Which is why Bone needs to almost. He didn't completely screw up the pitching in any of the other rounds of the postseason. So he needs to carry that into this series. Don't be so quick to pull the hook. If you could stretch an extra out to get, it's 2 outs, assess who you have on the mound before you go and pull them, take them out. Try to give as many of your guys a clean inning as possible. I think that's also something that Boone needs to continue in the postseason, because he hasn't been putting these guys into no-win situations. He's actually been pretty good with that. So if he can continue that in the World Series, then I think that's where Boone can really come out of this unscathed.
I think you're spot on about the fact that there's not really a home field advantage. I think that's a really good point. The Yankees have actually shown that they're actually a better team on the road. For one. For two, the Yankees have a bunch of California guys in their team. Giancarlo Stanton's a California dude. Aaron Judge is a California dude. The Yankees have dudes from California. Garrett Cole, California dude, right? So they're going to be perfectly at home playing in Cali. They're going to be pretty relaxed. And furthermore, Aaron Judge has shown that he loves playing in Cali. He absolutely mashes, actually. So, as you've seen when he plays in San Francisco or or Anaheim or Oakland, he has really good numbers there. So does Juan Soto. His numbers are fucking great. So I expect that they'll match in LA too. So I don't think that there's I don't think there's a massive home field advantage for the Dodgers. Having said that, there's not a home field advantage for the Yankees either, because the Yankees have kind of struggled at Yankee Stadium. They actually seem to play better on the road. So if there's a scenario where one of the teams take one of the road games, it doesn't necessarily mean the season's over. Series is over, because as I say, both teams are more than capable of matching. I mean, you've got to love Ohtani against that short porch at Yankee Stadium.
Yep.
You do. So, I think the Dodgers are going to have games where they put up runs in bunches, and the Yankees need to match it.
That's why this series I'm expecting a slugfest. I'd be surprised if it was not. Before we get out of here for the game later on, there was a question that was put out. I want to say, Donald, and we got to get your take on this. How many games do you think the series goes? And who do you think is going? Who do you have winning? And who do you think is going to be the MVP?
Six games strikes me. I can see this being a 6-game series. At minimum, there's every chance it goes 7, because as I've run through the numbers, you saw how tight these teams are evenly matched. I'm gonna go 6. And I'll go either way. If you really push me, I'm going to go with the Yankees on the edge that they have better starting pitching. And they have a bunch of dudes from Cali, so they're going to be very comfortable there. So I'm going to go Yankees in 6. The MVP, I'm going to give it to Juan Soto. I think MVP going to be Juan Soto. Although Aaron Judge, I think, is going to have a better World Series than he's had a better postseason, because I think he'll be comfortable in his surroundings, in front of a lot of family, I assume. But I'm gonna go with Soto, because Soto. It's just been the Soto and Stanton show for the Yankees the whole way through. So I think Soto's going to continue it and then make it the conversation of the offseason going, oh my God, like how much are we going to offer Soto to extend him? So Soto's going to be particularly desperate to have a big series, and I think he will. So give me Juan Soto, Yankees in 6, and it's going to be a hell of a tough series. And if the Dodgers win in 6, I would not be surprised, because I say it's going to be very neck and neck.
Yep.
Neck and neck.
Yeah, no, I had the Yankees in 7, MVP Juan Soto, but I also made the claim that Aaron Judge is going to win us a game by himself. He's going to have one of those games where we don't win if it's not for him. I would be very disappointed in my captain if that didn't happen. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, everybody's pretty much saying 6 or 7 games. Only Jared's the only one that thinks Trent Grisham is going to be the MVP. Even though I know he's just kidding.
I mean, obviously he's not, but the Yankees would be wise to use Grisham.
Yeah,
because of his excellent range in center field. I just don't know how they're going to get fit in, because you're never going to sub out Aaron Judge.
No, yeah, that's the.
But his range in that roomy center field in LA would be wise to consider. How would they do it? I'm not quite sure, but it's not a bad take, Jared, to maybe use Grisham.
Yep. Nosebleed's saying Yankees in 5. Anthony Volpe for the MVP. He goes, it's too easy to choose any of the big 3, and I think that's very fair. It is very easy to pick those guys, but you can only judge by what you've seen so far going into the
Exactly.
series. And they have been. That's why we would keep referring to them as the big three. They've been a huge factor, but no, that doesn't dismiss because Volpe's had a very good postseason.
Okay, so all right, with what Nosebleed's saying there,
Mhm.
who would you predict was going to be a low key MVP?
Ooh,
Because obviously it's very easy to go air judge Juan Soto, right? Very easy. How about someone who there will be someone that's going to step in that step up that none of us are expecting.
Yeah.
So
And for anyone that's not watched us before, and this is your first show, after every series, no matter what it is, it could be spring training. We do an award segment where we have an MVP, a low key, a pitching award, a clutch award, and some other fun ones mixed into there. So that's why we're saying low key. I'm going to predict mine. Austin
Okay.
Wells.
ooh, nice. I like that.
I think because if we're going to be relying so much on the strength of our pitching, him behind the plate is going to be a big factor in their success as well.
Greg and Nosebleed are going to go Jazz. I would love to jump in on that Jazz thing because he's got the right personality, but so far, and Brad's going Jazz as well. So far, his personality has hurt the Yankees in the postseason so far, and it's been a distraction. And so I can't go Jazz right now because I'm not seeing anything in the playoffs that would indicate to me that he's going to turn this thing around immediately. But I think it's a good take. I don't hate it because he's got there's something about him which is special. He's a guy that needs to be in the spotlight. So it could work for him. It could. But I like Tats's Wells take more because I think Wells is due a better run. And plus he's called a great series so far behind the plate. Let me think here. I think obviously a bullpen arm is probably going to be a key to the series because there's going to be a lot of pressure. So we're going to need Luke Weaver to have a hell of a series. If the Yankees are going to win this thing, Luke Weaver needs to have one hell of a series. But offensively, give me Anthony Rizzo.
That's a good. I was thinking about him too.
I was thinking Anthony Rizzo because he's got the World Series experience. He knows what it takes to win. Plus, he's had a good playoffs. And plus, he's got really good numbers against Jack Flaherty. He's by far got the best numbers against Flaherty of any Yankee. I think he's batting over 400 facing Flaherty. So I am going to go with Anthony Rizzo.
No, I think another factor that has to be taken into your choice is that this might be his last go.
Yes.
So he might have that extra drive to kind of look. If I'm going out, I'm putting myself out. And
it could be a Hideki Matsui goodbye, like he'd had in 2009.
Yeah. Want to welcome into the chat and welcome to the family. Sat Dea Kalsa, if I mispronounced that, which I probably did, I apologize. He's saying Dodgers in 6.
A good take. Absolutely. And he's
So,
going to Shohei as MVP. I mean,
MVP Shohei. So he's got Shohei as the MVP.
I assume that you're a Dodger fan, Sat, right?
Which is perfectly fine.
Absolutely. No, I'm just asking. I think it's awesome. Get more Dodger fans in here.
Yeah.
They're all welcome. The Ohtani Glaze is too real. I don't know if it's Glaze. I mean, the dude is crazy, crazy good.
Yeah, I think that was actually, Jared got in late because Brad made the joke about them glazing Ohtani more than a Christmas ham. So I think that's where that one came in. 4 close games, Yankees sweep. Spencer, believe me, I hope you're right. Let's just get the win and go home. But I think
know that
that's
Spence has
I
been
think that's
watching a
like,
lot of Yankee games on the S Network, Yankee History. He'll be watching all the old Yankee Dodger matchups, I'm sure.
oh yeah. All right, that is going to wrap things for us today. Hope everybody does enjoy the game tonight, regardless of which fan base you are rooting for. Because this is going to be a very back and forth game, just like this dog keeps walking back and forth.
Yes, that dog is giant, man. He's excited. He's excited.
Yeah, she just wants to go back outside. But that's going to wrap things up for us today. Just remember, if you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that sub button, share this out with your friends, your family, strangers on the corner. We want to thank everybody in the family that has spent their morning with us today, whether on YouTube, whether on Facebook, Twitter, and everybody listening on Sportswire Radio. Appreciate your audience listening as well.
You fix your TV issues, says Brad.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's all sorted out. So, that being said, just really, go Yankees, wear those pinstripes of pride, and play hard.
Salute, guys.